Hello everyone, and welcome to our discussion on the Ukraine war. While Russia and Ukraine are the primary combatants, this conflict has drawn in thousands of fighters from unexpected nations. Today, we're delving into the surprising and significant roles of Cuba and North Korea. Both Russia and Ukraine faced severe population declines even before the war. Ukraine's population, once 50 million in 1992, plummeted to 44 million by 2020 and further to 42 million by the war's start in 2022. By 2025, estimates suggest it could fall below 30 million, with some experts even citing 26 million. The constant stream of dead and wounded soldiers exacerbates this crisis. Russia isn't exempt from these demographic woes. Its population dropped from 148 million in 1992 to 143 million today, with male life expectancy already under 70. For both nations, war was the last thing they needed, as it drains human resources and cripples economies. Realizing it couldn't sustain its forces by relying solely on its own shrinking population, Russia adopted creative recruitment methods. Initially, Moscow targeted foreigners within the Russian Federation, migrant guest workers, and even undocumented individuals, offering $2,000 per person and fast-tracked Russian citizenship for a year of military service. This offer proved incredibly appealing to those from Central Asian countries. Secondly, Russia dispatched recruitment officers worldwide and partnered with private military companies. Tens of thousands from India, Nepal, Syria, and Africa flocked to join, drawn by the prospect of $2,000 monthly pay and a Russian passport. This strategy not only eased the domestic burden of casualties as foreigners were dying instead of Russians, but also avoided pulling vital workers from the Russian labor market. Another drastic measure was emptying prisons. Notorious criminals were released to fight, promised freedom, and a clean slate. This move alone provided the Russian army with at least 150,000 to 170,000 additional soldiers. Guards even left their posts to join the front lines, with Russia recently beginning to send female prisoners to. Despite largely going unnoticed by the world, Cuba has become a significant player. In February 2025, over 5,000 Cuban soldiers were fighting in Ukraine. Some estimates suggest as many as 20,000 Cubans have fought on Ukrainian fronts since 2022. Their presence was first noted in 2023, with Cubans being sent to highly intense front lines like Bakhmut. After just a month of training in Russia, they suffered heavy casualties. Cuban soldiers fall into two categories. Around 40% are professional soldiers or police, seemingly sent as part of an official, albeit unacknowledged, agreement between Russia and Cuba. Ukrainian MP Marian Zablotsky claims Russia pays the Havana government at least $50 million for each Cuban soldier. These skilled fighters earn $2,000, $2,500 monthly, while ordinary recruits get $1,000, $2,000, plus the chance for Russian citizenship after a year. The motivation for ordinary Cubans, teachers, musicians, students is primarily extreme poverty in Cuba. Earning in months what would take them a decade back home is a powerful incentive. The Cuban government itself is desperately short of foreign currency. Russia, already having forgiven 90% of Cuba's $35 billion debt in 2014, continues to provide cash flow, oil, and credit, cementing Cuba as its largest supporter. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel has even openly wished Russia success in the war. Despite Havana's denials, the number of Cuban soldiers actively fighting reached around 7,000 by July 2025, making Cuba the fourth largest force in the conflict after Russians, Ukrainians, and North Koreans. North Korea is preparing to triple its troop numbers in Ukraine. There are already 10,000 to 12,000 North Korean soldiers in Russia, with plans to send an additional 25,000 to 30,000 more by July or August. South Korean intelligence confirmed an initial 3,000 additional troops were sent earlier this year. North Korean soldiers played a crucial role in liberating Kursk last November, with about 4,000 casualties wounded or dead. This cooperation benefits both sides, Russia addresses its troop shortages, and North Korea breaks its international isolation. Russia likely pays Pyongyang a premium per soldier and offers diplomatic protection through its UN Security Council seat. Initial deployments saw some inexperience, but future North Korean waves are expected to be far more lethal and effective, with increased integration into the Russian army. Preparations for transporting thousands of additional Korean soldiers are evident, including modifications to Russian aircraft and increased shipping activity between the two countries, which share a direct border. While both nations kept the initial deployments secret, evidence, photos, captives was abundant. In April, both Russia and North Korea finally acknowledged their cooperation, with Kim Jong-un even shedding tears for fallen soldiers. Sergei Shoigu, a key Russian military advisor, has visited Pyongyang twice recently, underscoring Russia's high expectations. Beyond combat troops, Russia is also receiving non-combat personnel. Shoigu announced plans to take 1,000 sappers and 5,000 military construction workers from North Korea to rebuild Kursek's infrastructure and clear mines. Soldier selection for July and August deployments has already begun in North Korea. North Korean troops are concentrated near raising questions about their potential use in Russia's aim to capture Ukraine's Sumy and Kokafa oblasts this summer and autumn, establishing a deep buffer zone. If North Korea sends 20,000 to 40,000 more troops, the total numbers could reach 40,000, effectively making it seem as if North Korea itself is invading Ukraine. This involvement is transforming the conflict into a North Korea-Ukraine war. As their soldiers increasingly fight for their own cause as casualties mount, North Korea's contribution extends beyond soldiers. The number of North Korean workers in Russia has surged by tens of thousands, with over 150,000 applications and likely over 50,000 workers by this year, excluding soldiers. This indicates Kim Jong-un's desire to send even more labor and military support. North Korean language translators are now highly sought after in Russia, earning up to $4,000. Pyongyang has also supplied Russia with millions of artillery shells and hundreds of ballistic missiles, with its KN-23 and KN-24 missiles proving particularly deadly in Ukraine. North Korea has emerged as the third strongest party in the Ukraine war. This is a significant development, an Asian power actively waging war in the heart of Europe against Ukraine and, by extension, against the West. This has alarmed European nations. French President Emmanuel Macron, speaking in Singapore, explicitly warned China, "Stop North Korea. If they continue to intervene in the Ukraine war, we, as France, as Europe, and more importantly, as NATO, will become more active in the Pacific, in Southeast Asia. We will also intervene here." Macron's statement was a direct threat to China, urging it to rein in North Korea's involvement or face NATO's increased presence in its backyard. The involvement of tens of thousands of Cuban and North Korean soldiers, with their respective states actively facilitating this, adds a complex and dangerous new dimension to the Ukraine war. What was once seen as a bilateral conflict has now drawn in global players, with profound implications for international relations and regional stability.